Good authority. All right, everyone. Well, welcome to the City of Alameda City Council meeting. Tonight is Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. And I am Mayor Marilyn Ezzy Ashcraft. As the agenda indicates, I am joining remotely from my hotel in Washington, D.C. I'm back doing some lobbying for transportation programs and projects in Alameda County. So I would like to call the meeting to order, and we are going to start with a special City Council meeting closed session. And I would like to first ask our City Clerk, Laura Weisinger, to call the roll.
Council members Bowler.
Here.
Daysog.
Here.
Jensen.
Here.
Pryor.
Here.
Mayor Ezzy Ashcraft.
I am here.
5 present.
Perfect. And so now we will have public comment on closed session items only. Do we have any public comment on closed session items, Madam Clerk?
We do not.
All right, well, with that, I will close item 2, public comment on closed session items, and we are about to adjourn to closed session to consider 2 items. Madam Clerk, would you introduce those items, please?
3A is conference with real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. Property is Building 530, 390 West Oriskany Avenue, area bounded by West Pacific Avenue, Orion Street, Viking Street, West Ticonderoga Avenue, and Central Avenue. The city negotiators are the city manager, base reuse and economic development director, base reuse manager, and assistant city attorney. Negotiating parties are City of Alameda, Pacific Fusion Corporation, and Heinz Interest Limited Partnership. Under negotiation are price and terms of sale. 3B is conference with legal counsel, potential litigation, potential initiation of litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D4. Number of cases: 1 as plaintiff with the city initiating legal action. The potential defendant is the Port of Oakland.
All right. With that, the council is going to adjourn into closed session, and we have every intention of being back before you at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So with that, we will adjourn into closed session, and I will see you in the other room. a couple empty chairs. Can you hear me in the chambers?
Yes, we can hear you, and the couple of chairs are hopefully being filled rather quickly.
I got 1 minute. Okay.
I don't know. It's close to the bridge, for example.
Laura, is the lighting okay, or should I make it brighter?
It'd be really cool.
If it's not too much, you could do a little brighter.
I might just start taking the bus.
How's that, or is it washed out?
No, that's good.
Okay. Right. It is 10:10, and do we have everybody?
We do.
We do. All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Alameda City Council meeting. Tonight is June 3rd, 2025, and the council has just returned from closed session. As you can see, some of us are in the chambers, and one of us, which one is not like the others, I am in Washington, D.C. My agenda, my address is posted on the agenda at the Sofitel Hotel in Washington, D.C., where I am lobbying with the Alameda County Transportation Commission, hopefully bringing some funding back to our county for projects and programs and roads and safe streets and all those good things. And in any event, the council has just returned from closed session. So I would like to ask our city clerk, Laura Weisinger, if she would please announce any actions taken in closed session.
Yes. So for the first item 3A, which was conference with real property negotiators, staff provided information and council provided direction. The motion was 5 ayes with Councilmember Daysog voting no. And regarding 3B.
Madam Clerk, was it perhaps 4 ayes with council?
4 ayes, yes. Yes, 4. There were 6 of you there, yes. 4 ayes with 1 no, yes. And then for the next item, which was the 3B, which was potential litigation with a potential defendant of the Port of Oakland, staff provided information and council provided direction, and that one did carry by 5 ayes.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And so with that, we will adjourn the closed session of the City Council, and I will call to order the regular City Council meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Councilmember Bowler, I forgot to ask you in advance, but would you please lead us in the pledge?
Please rise if you can and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Councilmember Bowler. And Madam Clerk, may we have the roll call, please?
Council members Bowler? Here. Daysog?
Here.
Jensen? Here. Pryor?
Here.
Mayor Asiashcraft?
Here.
5 present.
Here but away. Thank you for that. Madam Clerk, do we have any agenda changes this evening?
We do not.
All right, with that, we will move on to proclamations, special orders of the day, and announcements. And so this evening, we have a proclamation. June is Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer Plus Pride Month. And I have asked our Vice Mayor, Michelle Pryor, to please read the city's proclamation. So Vice Mayor, the floor is yours.
All right. 2025 Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer LGBTQ plus Pride Month Proclamation. A resolution regarding lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer LGBTQ plus Pride Month was introduced in the California State Assembly on May 22nd, 2025. It reads in part, each year, June marks the anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising that led to the modern LGBTQ plus civil rights movement. In June 1969, a police raid on Stonewall Inn, a gay nightclub in New York City, sparked 6 days of resistance that gave rise to the first New York City Pride Rally, when 500 people gathered for a gay power demonstration in Washington Square Park. LGBTQ plus people came from all walks of life, race, ethnicity, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, and economic status. Today, more LGBTQ plus people are being elected to public offices across the country. playing in professional sports leagues, occupying the highest positions in business and government, and serving as role models for all. And LGBTQ plus people have made important and lasting contributions to our great state and nation in every field of endeavor, including but not limited to business, medicine, law, humanities, science, literature, politics, education, music, philanthropy, sports and athletics, arts, and culture. The city of Alameda is located in the San Francisco Bay Area, which is home to a vibrant LGBTQ plus community that has been at the forefront of LGBTQ plus advocacy, including the courageous leadership of the late San Francisco Supervisor Harvey Milk, and then San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom's issuance of marriage licenses to same-sex couples in February 2004. The city of Alameda is a vibrant community that champions the values of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and proudly recognizes LGBTQ plus individuals among its dedicated staff at all levels. Earlier this year, QTAC, Queen Teen Alameda Center, a drop-in center for LGBTQ plus teens, celebrated its grand opening. Alameda Pride, Alameda Recreation and Parks Department, ARPD, and Alameda Collaborative for Children, Youth, and Their Families, ACCYF, collaborated to create this safe space for LGBTQ plus middle and high school students to socialize and find support with each other and adult role models. Mayor Marilyn Ezzy Ashcraft recently announced her selection of Jeremy Andahewson, founder of Alameda Pride, as Grand Marshal of the Mayor's 2025 4th of July Parade. We honor Jeremy for his unwavering dedication to creating Alameda's annual Pride in the Park celebration, Alameda Pride's support for QTAC, and for creating a nonprofit foundation to provide safe spaces and essential resources for LGBTQ plus individuals. The city of Alameda is committed to fostering an inclusive community where every individual feels safe, respected, and empowered to live authentically, free from fear or marginalization. As noted in the State Assembly's resolution, California's and America's diversity is one of our greatest strengths, and our great state and nation strive to promote the principles of equality and justice and the inalienable rights of all people to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To build a more robust and better state and nation, we must continue to help advance the cause of equality for all people. To achieve a more just and fair society, we must teach our children to respect one another, to appreciate our differences, and to recognize the common good in all of us. Now, therefore, it says, sorry, it's not my name, but I'm
Go
going to.
ahead. You can read it.
I will,
Just read it.
yeah, as myself? Okay. Now, therefore, I, Vice Mayor Michelle Pryor, also Marilyn Ezzy Ashcraft, the mayor of the city of Alameda, hereby proclaim June 2025 as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer LGBTQ+ Pride Month in the city of Alameda, and urge all residents to join in celebrating the culture, accomplishments, and contributions of LGBTQ+ people and work to advance the cause of equality for LGBTQ+ people and their families. You can learn more about the diverse culture of the LGBTQ+ community by participating in the following activities presented by the Alameda Free Library. Pride Storytime for the entire family. It's on Bay Farm Island, Saturday, June 7th, 10:30 a.m. Storyteller Regina Stoops, multi-time winner of the Moth Story Slam, Saturday, June 14th at the main library, 2 p.m. Pride Crafternoon, West End Library, Saturday, June 14th, 2 p.m. Pride Bracelet Making for ages 6 to 12, Main Library, Tuesday, June 24th, 2:30 p.m. Wireframe Fairy Wings with Upcycle Alameda, Tuesday, June 24th, Main Library, 5:30 p.m.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. I appreciate that. It's kind of nice to sit back and listen to a proclamation. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment on this proclamation?
We do. Gabriel Duncan.
All right, welcome, Speaker Duncan.
Hello, my name is Gabriel Duncan. I'm a resident of Alameda. I'm Two-Spirit and queer. I want to take a moment to stand here and recognize the gay, lesbian, bisexual, Two-Spirit, and transgender people who can't, and those who have stood before me, people to whom I owe my thanks and gratitude for teaching me how to survive in a world that would have otherwise destroyed me with its hate and intolerance. I want to remember Marsha P. Johnson, who was there at the first Pride, which was a riot, John Walking Horse, who carried the Eagle staff to the main stage of the San Francisco Pride, where Two-Spirit people delivered a land acknowledgement and blessing for the first time, Sally Ramone, who will always be my auntie and elder, and who I miss dearly, Carl Lasagna, who taught me how to live, love, and thrive in the grooviest way, Harvey Milk, who gave his life in service to the people, Jonathan Joss, who reminded us that Native American people celebrated Thanksgiving once, and also Matthew Shepard, who was beaten, pistol whipped, tied to a barbed wire fence, and left to die for no other reason than who he was. While you may read a civic declaration and pat yourselves on the back for your performative allyship, it will never be enough, because true allyship means advocating for those who can't. It means protecting our right to live with dignity, free of harassment and prejudice, and it means standing up loudly and clearly to protect trans youth. It's not enough to read a statement or pass an empty resolution. You must protect the people. You must protect trans youth. That means refusing to platform hate, refusing to tolerate bigotry in any form, unless, of course, it's intolerance of the bigots. Never let them win. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public speakers on this?
That was all.
All right, we'll close public comment in this. And now to Estelle's proclamation that is not on the agenda. And I do hope that the individual we're honoring is in the audience. I think
Yes.
He would be. And so I'm going to call on my colleague, Councilmember Tracy Jensen, to read our next proclamation. Councilmember Jensen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And at this time, I'd like to ask that audience member to come up to the podium. I see him in the back. John Lipp, could you please join us up here?
Well, or if he'd like to sit while the proclamation is being read, maybe, or whatever is most comfortable for him. How's that?
Well, I wanted to surprise him a little bit. Here he comes. John Lipp joined the Friends of the Alameda Animal Shelter FAWS Board of Directors in 2011 during the critical Save the Shelter campaign and helped to ensure the shelter's survival amid city budget cuts. He was named executive director in 2017 and played a pivotal role in fostering a mutually beneficial relationship between FAWS and the city. At the end of June, John will retire from his dream job at FAWS, where his legacy includes his passionate advocacy for the power of the human-animal bond that reflects his motto, one day at a time, one animal at a time, one life at a time, as well as his remarkable fundraising abilities, inspiring hundreds of community members to become FAWS volunteers and helping thousands of animals find their forever homes, including his own beloved dog, Chance. While we will miss John dearly, John leaves FAWS in great hands with more than 30 talented and passionate staff who work daily to run the main shelter at Fortman and the South Shore Adoption Center, along with more than 200 caring and giving volunteers and a compassionate and tenacious board of directors, and I know some of them are here today. During John's tenure, FAWS established the Pet Food Pantry to help families in need feed their pets, opened the Satellite Adoption Center store at South Shore Center, launched the Mobile Outreach and Adoption Center, provided essential pet services and emergency boarding during the COVID-19 pandemic and other natural disasters, reopened the newly renovated shelter facility, and broke ground on the Animal Medical Services and Training Campus on Bay Farm Island. Recently, John and FAWS celebrated the opening of their newest thrift store, the Diggity Dog, which, along with its little sister, the Thrifty Kitty, are not just clever names, they are on a meaningful mission. Each purchase supports FAWS and the vital services they provide, giving new life to donated items and new lives to animals waiting for their forever homes. Later this summer, FAWS will open a new spay and neuter clinic servicing Alameda shelter animals as well as animals in the wider East Bay. And for all this, now therefore be it resolved that I, Tracy Jensen, council member, along with Mayor Ezzy Ashcraft, Mayor of the City of Alameda, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025, as John Lipp Day in the City of Alameda. and express our heartfelt gratitude of all the people and animals of Alameda for John's service and our best wishes for your well-deserved retirement. Thank you, John.
Yay, I think we can break the no applause rule. So would you like to make any okay. And Mr. Lip, if you would like to make any comments. Hi, John.
Hi, Mayor. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I hope you were surprised.
I am literally speechless right now, and I'm never speechless. This is a tremendous honor. It's been a tremendous honor to serve this community in this way for the past, since 2011, actually, as a volunteer and then on the staff. And I gotta say, we get, I've been given a lot of credit, but the reality is anything we've achieved is because of our community. These are our community's values that make all of our work possible, our incredible volunteers, our incredible staff. And I've just been very fortunate to be part of that for the past 14 years. And I just want to thank you all. It's a great community, and here's to great things in the future.
Thank you, John. We are grateful for you. Thank you. And thank you, Councilmember Jensen, for reading the proclamation. All right. So with that, we move on to oral communications, non-agenda items, and I'm just going to go over my little admonition that I always give, even from across the country, that this is a city council meeting. It's a business meeting. We're conducting the business of the city of Alameda. It's not theater. It's not a sporting event. So we listen respectfully, and we don't cheer, jeer, boo, applaud, do the wave. We just listen to speakers, or if we're the speaker, we speak, and when our time is up, we sit down. And I just want to make this as safe a space as possible for people to get up and express their views. We also are role models. Sometimes children are in the gallery and chambers, or they may be watching remotely, and we want to model good civic responsibility for them. If you're holding a sign, that's fine. Just don't hold it over your head unless you're in that very last row, so you don't block anyone else's view. And I hope not to need this, but I'll read the admonition from California Penal Code Section 403, which states it is a criminal offense for any person to, without authority of law, willfully disturb or break up any assembly or meeting that is not unlawful in its character, other than an assembly or meeting referred to in Penal Code 302 or Elections Code 18340. First violations will receive a warning, and continued violations will require additional action, which could include police intervention. There, I said it. So with that, Madam Clerk, do we have speakers under item 4, oral communication, non-agenda item?
We do. We only have 3. They'll get 3 minutes each. The first is Andrew Lausign. Yeah.
Welcome, Speaker Lausign. Come on up. Bring the microphone to whatever height you need.
Thank you very much. How's that? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's good.
Great. So I live on the 3200 block of Fillmore Street, and our street was recently affected by a city project called Cyclic Sewer Repair Project, Phase 21. And there were a couple elements of this project that I found to be quite frustrating. I submitted a couple of written statements, so I'll keep my oral statements tonight brief. But the 2 main points that I wanted to make, one is the notifications that the city provides. So the city provided 48 hours of notification. Actually, contractors showed up and we asked, what are you doing here? Because we hadn't received any notification. We contacted the city, and then they stopped the project. They had the notification delivered, and then this project started 48 hours later. But I just wanted to say, I think 48 hours is insufficient project notification. Our street was effectively closed for 3 weeks, or there was no parking on our street for 3 weeks. And I think the city could provide better notification to residents and property owners than 48 hours notice. In my written statement, I make a specific suggestion, perhaps 1 month, and then again 1 week before the start of construction. The other element of the project that was frustrating was the condition that our street was left in. The project was just completed this last Friday, May 30th, and there was minimal or no cleanup done on the street after the project was completed. There was trenching and backfill, and so the entire block was really covered in construction dust and dirt. and it was still there until today. I contacted city staff yesterday, and to their credit, they were very responsive. City staff came out to inspect the street at my request, so I appreciate that responsiveness. But what prompted me to write the notes and show up here tonight is that city staff actually told me that they thought the condition the street was left in was acceptable, and it was actually typical of the way the streets were left they said it was a 5-year project. I think they indicated they were about halfway through the project, and the streets that have been completed so far were left in similar fashion. And I really think that that's unacceptable. I think the condition of the street is totally unacceptable. The dust is all over our homes, our cars, our sidewalks. It's actually in my house because you can't walk to the house without going through the construction dust. Now today, after I submitted my notes to the city, something changed because the street sweepers came to our street twice today. City staff came out again with the contractor. And so I'm not sure if they changed their mind about the condition the street was left in or what changed. But so I'm very pleased with what happened today. But I think that these cleanup practices and notification practices should be changed so that when construction is done in our neighborhoods or in front of our businesses, we're really left with, I don't know, something that's in good condition, not something that looks like a construction project just tore up the street. And that's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker.
Rachel Campos de Ivanov.
Welcome, Speaker Campos de Ivanov.
Not nearly as tall as our last speaker. Good evening, Mayor Ezzy Ashcraft and council members. I'm Rachel Campos de Ivanov from Radium Presents, and I'm here tonight to share an exciting update on our recently completed In Plain Sight project, an outdoor photography exhibit at Radium Runway in partnership with the West End Arts District. This 3-week initiative was truly a community celebration featuring a diverse array of programming that brought together residents, students, and visitors from across the Bay Area. Our programming was robust. We hosted a speaker series featuring youth and climate activists, a vibrant food festival, and offered hands-on photography workshops. We brought professional photographers directly into classrooms to teach new skills to our young people and welcomed over 350 students for educational field trips where they could explore displays and try their hand at photography. The project also built partnerships with organizations from across the region, including Brooklyn-based Photoville, San Francisco's Harvey Milk Photo Center, and many other cultural institutions helping to strengthen Alameda's reputation as a destination for the arts. What struck me personally was witnessing the community's response. People would wander, stop, and explore these outdoor galleries with genuine curiosity and excitement, and it's been heartwarming to hear their comments and enthusiasm after seeing one of the most beautiful corners on our island start to come to life. The project culminated with the launch of Rhythmic's Cultural Works Rising Seas series, the next phase of this year-long climate arts initiative, which continues through July of this year. Most importantly, this project provided a powerful platform to highlight through an artistic lens and engage the community around important work the City of Alameda is doing to take a leadership position in responding and adapting to climate change. I wanted to extend my sincere gratitude to city staff members Danielle Mueller, Jackie Kali'ia'a, Sarah Henry, as well as the Public Art Commission for their unwavering support throughout this initiative. And of course to Mayor Ezzy Ashcraft, because without your leadership, the lead grant from Bloomberg Philanthropies would not have been possible. As we move forward, Radium is excited to continue expanding our Radium Runway project. And this fall, we will be adding a temporary improved venue facility that will provide a more refined visitor experience and help our community envision what a performing arts center will bring to Alameda. Thank you all for your time and your continued supports for arts and culture in our community.
Thank you. Our next speaker.
Gabriel Duncan.
Welcome, Speaker Duncan.
Thank you. My name is Gabriel Duncan. I'm the founder of the Alameda Native History Project and a recognized descendant of the Benton Bayou tribe. I'm asking the city to remove all references to Sogorea-Te Land Trust from the city's website and to stop promoting the Shumi land tax. Shumi is not a donation to Ohlone people. It enriches a single individual, Karina Gold, who is not enrolled in any tribe and who created the so-called Confederated Villages of Lijan in 2018. That group is not a historic tribe, is not recognized by any tribal, legal, or academic authority. The Muwekma Ohlone tribe has formally condemned her actions as identity fraud. According to their official statement, the Shumi land tax dupes well-meaning people into believing they are donating to the Ohlone people. They are not. They are only enriching a single Ohlone woman. City endorsement of this misinformation undermines legitimate tribal sovereignty and erases the Muwekma Ohlone tribe, whose members are federally documented, historically tied to this land, and actively fighting for restoration. You cannot claim to support Native people while promoting a scam that diverts resources away from recognized tribal nations. I emailed all of you about this already. None of you responded. So tonight, I'm handing you Muwekma's official statement condemning Karina Gould and Sogorea-Te Land Trust, which is attached to this declaration or statement. So that way, you can't say you didn't know. Please do the right thing and remove Sogorea-Te and Shumi from the city website. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker.
That was our last speaker.
Okay, with that, we will close oral communication non-agenda items, and we will move on to the consent calendar. These are routine items that will be approved by one motion unless council members remove items for discussion. Removed items are called after agenda items, and council members may speak for up to 3 minutes on consent calendar items. On the other hand, you can ask questions as a council member, clarifying questions about an item without actually pulling it. So first up, do we have any closed session items, not closed session, consent calendar items that any council member wants to pull? I'm not seeing any hands. Are there any hands, Madam Clerk?
There are none.
Okay, well with that, do any council members have questions about any of the clarifying questions that could be answered by staff?
You have one, Councilmember Jensen.
Okay, Councilmember Jensen, please.
I'd like to ask some questions about the item 5I, the annual strategic plan update.
Sure, and who's on that one?
That'll be me, or depending on the question.
City manager?
City manager or Sarah Henry, our communications director, yeah.
Okay, well, why don't you ask your question and we'll see who is best suited to answer it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wanted to open up this item and ask a couple of questions just to clarify our process on the strategic plan and to provide some information to me, my colleagues, and our constituents regarding how we're moving forward with the plan.
Thank you, Councilmember Jensen. So this past year, the process was an annual update to the plan. And so we held a meeting with the council and we did some outreach with staff to figure out what the updates to the projects would be in the strategic plan. We worked through the different priorities with y'all at a workshop, and then we came together with this annual update. Next year, we'll do something similar. And then the year after, we'll start our process on a new 3-year strategic planning process where we do robust civic engagement, community engagement, and that kind of thing.
Thank you. And just to confirm and provide a little additional information, when we did this update, this was about a year ago, earlier this year, we did the update, but then more recently, we've had some budget discussions and workshops. And so can you comment on how the items that were presented and discussed for the strategic planning workshop? There were also information was also provided regarding the cost or the fiscal implications of those items. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think all of the.
City manager?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Sorry. I think everything that's in the strategic plan now has been right-sized and included in our budget. So the budget that we'll be bringing to you on the 17th includes the implementation of the work plan that's before you tonight, including the new projects that are listed in the staff report. So we do think we have the sufficient funding to fund those.
And I want to highlight one of the issues, one of the recommendations and new projects, and then ask the city manager also to comment on how these projects, including the one I'm going to point out fit into our strategic plan and support our community. So the one that I want to mention first is the first one that's on the list, the adding of the street vendor ordinance. And I was supportive of this. I know that we've had some input, a lot of input from our community regarding ensuring that street vendors are providing safe services, safe items to the community, and making it easy to navigate streets and sidewalks when they're doing this. So can you comment on that and how it fits into our strategic plan and our city services? I think this is the Assistant City Manager that's going to comment.
Thank you. Assistant City Manager
Amy
Wooldridge.
Wooldridge, please.
Thank you,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yeah, I'll still call in people from here.
Thank you. Yes, I'm personally leading the effort on the sidewalk vendor ordinance, and I've been working with our Public Works Department as well as our code enforcement under Planning, Building, Transportation. We've been looking at other model ordinances from other cities, and we are refining that. And we have a good working draft at this point. And I'll just add, in addition, we are working on a traffic safety plan specifically for Christmas Tree Lane during the month, that period of time. And so I'll be bringing, later this summer, I'll be hosting a neighborhood meeting with the residents in that local neighborhood regarding both the street vendor ordinance, sidewalk vendor ordinance, as well as the traffic safety plan. I want to also just emphasize that the vendor ordinance will be citywide. It won't be specific to Christmas Tree Lane. It'll be a citywide ordinance and have broader impacts.
Thank you. I don't really have any other questions. I just want to thank staff. The strategic plan really can guide us through a lot of different opportunities and barriers that might face the city. And so I think if I could just ask the city manager if you have any other comments or you want to comment or provide any other information, because I'm happy to see the update and I think that we're moving forward very well. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy, Mayor, if I may respond. We are really grateful for the leadership of the council on this. It really helps us. You know, it's not one of those documents that sits on the shelf. It's one that's very much used and reviewed and looked at, and we reference it in every staff report now, and our staff, when they're trying to think about how to direct their resources, is it, you know, one of the first things they ask, is it a project in the strategic plan? If it's not, then we ask that question, should we be spending our time on it? Or if so, we might need to come back to council. So I just want to acknowledge and appreciate the direction we've received from you, and just to let you know that we really use this, and it really does help guide our work. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to ask those questions. And I'll close by just saying that later in the agenda, on our regular agenda, we will have public hearings about some ordinance and some additional fees. And I'll ask the question, but I appreciate as you frame those in the context of our strategic plan for the city and the direction that we provided. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other council members who want to ask clarifying questions? And when you raise your hand, if you don't raise it too high, because I'll lose it in that beige wall, but about shoulder height, and just wave it and then I'll know. Was that you, Councilmember Bowler, or no? No, okay. I'm not seeing any hands. Are you, Madam Clerk?
None.
Okay, then do we have public comment on the consent calendar?
Also none.
Okay, we'll close public comment and I'll ask for a council motion to
Move approval.
To do that, to approve, and a second. People,
Second.
this isn't hard. Second, okay. It's been moved by Councilmember Jensen, seconded by Vice Mayor Pryor to approve the consent calendar. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call vote, please? And for the audience watching, whenever we are hybrid, not everyone is physically present. We have to do all of our votes as a roll call vote. So, Madam Clerk, please.
Council members Bowler.
Aye.
Daysog.
Aye.
Jensen.
Aye.
Pryor.
Aye.
Mayor Ezzy Ashcraft.
Aye.
That carries by 5 ayes.
Great. All right. So then we will move on. We have no item 6, continued agenda items. So then we move on to item 7, which is our regular agenda items. Madam Clerk, would you please introduce item 7A as whoever the speakers are? Here comes, I think that the Public Works Director. Would you please introduce the item, Madam Clerk?
Yes. Public hearing to consider introduction of ordinance revising the city's sewer service charges.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I'm your Public Works Director, Erin Smith. Tonight, we're conducting a public hearing to consider introduction of an ordinance revising the city's sewer service charges. Here with me this evening is Alan High Street from NBS, the city's consultant, who prepared the sewer rate study and can be available if we get into some questions on the rate study. Sewer service charges are viewed as property-related fees and are subject to specific requirements of the California Constitution, Article 13, commonly referred to as Prop 218. I'll first discuss actions already taken by council as part of the Prop 218 process. I'll then provide a brief overview of the city's sewer collection system and the regional treatment system owned by East Bay Mud, go over some progress and ongoing requirements of the consent decree the city is party to regarding our sewer collection system. I'll then present the proposed rate increase, which is for the next 5 years, the allowed rate horizon under Prop 218. At that point, I'll be done with my presentation, and the mayor can move forward with meeting proceedings. At the close of the public hearing, our city clerk will tabulate written protests, and after we have that tabulation, council can move forward with their vote of the ordinance. On April 1st, City Council did 4 things. City Council approved a sewer rate study, which is an exhibit to your staff report this evening. Council declared its intent to revise the sewer service charges, set the public hearing to consider those, the rate increase for this evening, and established procedures for accepting protests per Prop 218. On April 14th, following those approvals by council, we sent 19,243 properties a mailer, which is also an exhibit to your packet this evening, that announced the public hearing tonight, the rate increase, as well as protest procedures. Before jumping into the proposed rate schedule, I'd like to take a few minutes to give an overview of the city and regional sewer systems. Much of this information was included in the mailer that went to property owners. The city owns and collects the pipes that collect sewage from Alameda's residences and businesses and convey that flow to large interceptor pipes owned by East Bay Mud that takes Alameda's flow, as well as flow from 6 other collection agencies in the area, and conveys that flow to the treatment plant that we all see on our way to the Bay Bridge. This map shows the large East Bay Mud interceptor pipes connecting the region. And it also shows the map extents, shows those satellite collection agencies, Alameda, Oakland, Piedmont, Berkeley, Albany, and Steege Sanitary District to the north. The city's sewer system is separate from the city's storm system. This is true for the other collection agencies in the region. Storm drainage collects rainwater and conveys that flow to the bay through a series of pipes and pump stations without treatment. This is why storm drain pollution prevention is so important. Since many of the city's sewers were installed in the early to mid-20th century, stormwater that should enter the storm system enters the sewer system instead through cracks and breaks in old sewer pipes. Excessive flows in the sewer system during wet weather event can exceed collection and treatment capacity at the main wastewater treatment plant. This leads to the discharge of untreated or partially treated sewage to the bay. This is not a new issue for the region, and in the 1980s, East Bay Mud constructed 3 wet weather facilities with regulatory approval at that time. During storm events, East Bay Mud is able to route those excessive flows to the wet weather facilities that provide some level of treatment, but that treatment no longer meets current standards. EPA filed a lawsuit against East Bay Mud in 2009 for the continued use of the wet weather facilities. Separate lawsuits were filed against Alameda and the other satellite collection agencies that discharged to East Bay Mud. Negotiations took several years, ending in 2014 with a 23-year term consent decree, with the city a party, East Bay Mud, the other satellite collection agencies, and EPA, the Department of Justice, State and Regional Water Board. The main objectives of the consent decree is to reduce wet weather flows in the regional system and discontinue the use of the wet weather facilities such that all flow goes to the main wastewater treatment plant for full treatment before discharge to the bay. The consent decree has operational and work requirements specific to each agency, with emphasis on pipeline replacement to reduce the stormwater from entering the system. The consent decree requirements are in addition to other statewide regulatory requirements for the safe, effective operation of sewer collection systems. Since the start of the consent decree, the city's replaced 34 miles of sewer pipeline, or nearly 25% of our system. The consent decree has an ongoing requirement to replace 2.6 miles per year for the duration of the consent decree. We've also renovated 34 pump stations, improving the capacity and reliability, and we've minimized sewer overflows from the city collection system, and when an overflow does occur, we mitigate those impacts. This is done primarily through routine cleaning, condition assessment, spot repairs, the control of fats, oils, and grease, and roots in the system. And since a substantial portion of the sewer collection system is privately owned, here in Alameda, that's the pipe from the building to the property line, the consent decree requires a regional private sewer lateral program, which requires property owners to demonstrate that their private pipe is watertight at key triggers like point of sale or remodel of a certain value. The consent decree, in addition to the prescriptive annual work requirements, has what are called check-ins, or times where we need to actually demonstrate that the work we're doing is reducing flows in the system and reducing the use of the wet weather facilities. That first check-in was in 2022, and the work we and the other collection agencies in the system are doing are working. We met the required benchmarks. The next check-in is in 2030. The sewer rate study that Council approved earlier in April assessed funding needs and revenue sources and recommended an annual 3% revenue increase over the next 5 years. This analysis was based on rates being adequate to cash fund sewer pipeline replacements and other capital improvements, maintain reasonable and adequate operating and capital reserves, meet or exceed our debt coverage requirements, and mitigate impacts on the ratepayers. Shown here is the current and proposed rate schedule for the various customer classes. A cost of service analysis was conducted based on the sewer characteristics of each class and in accordance with industry standards. Since the characteristics have changed since our last rate study done 5 years ago, the proposed rates for fiscal year 25-26 do not increase uniformly across customer classes. Notably, the multifamily customer class actually sees a rate decrease. However, the total rate revenue for fiscal year 25 will rise by 3%, and following this true-up year, rates will increase uniformly across customer classes by 3%. To give this rate schedule some context, the impact to single-family residents next fiscal year will be $8.76 for the year. Shown here in green is the city's current and proposed rate for single-family residences and how that compares to other collection agencies in the region. So you can see the existing and proposed rate for 25-26, we remain on the lower end of the scale. And here's my final slide with staff's recommendation that if there is not a majority protest, that council adopt the proposed resolution revising the city sewer service charges. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Director Smith. Okay, we are back, and so at this point, I would like to open the public hearing and call for speakers. Madam Clerk, do we have speakers on this item?
We do not.
All right, we will close public comment, and I will close the public hearing, and then I would like to call on the city clerk to tabulate the ballots. Can you explain for the public and the council how that works, Madam Clerk, please?
Yes, thank you. So now is the time, if anybody else in the audience has any additional protests, they should be submitted now. No one is bringing any additional protests. So the city clerk, the city received 7 protests, which is not a majority, so the city council can proceed with the action to introduce the ordinance and revise the city sewers charges.
All right, thank you for that. And with that, let's open the floor up for, it can be council clarifying questions, discussion, since we have no public comment or a motion. Council member Bowler, did I see you leaning towards your microphone?
Jensen.
No, that's Councilmember Jansen.
Okay, well, I do try to start with different council members first, if anybody else had a comment, but no one on, Councilmember Bowler, you weren't?
No, thank you.
Okay, fine.
thank you.
Councilmember, you're welcome. Councilmember Jensen.
I just have a clarifying question regarding the protest, regarding this particular, is this just specific to sewer rate increases? This, where the public hearing is established and then the protests are tabulated? Or are there
Madam
other
Clerk,
fee
Can you
increases?
explain, Madam Clerk?
I think it's the Public Works Director who was going to.
I just
Oh,
wanted
I'm
to-
sorry. Yes, Director Smith, please.
Thanks. Just to clarify your question, Councilmember Jensen, can you ask the question again? Because the public hearing is related specifically to the sewer collection service charge.
My question is a little bit bigger, and it may even be for the city attorney. I'm just wondering whether there are other programs or services that, or fees, where there is a requirement for a public hearing and where protests are solicited and collected before the fee increase happens.
So my understanding is,
Who would like to answer that? Is that the city clerk?
I think the Public Works Director, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not good at distinguishing voices here. Okay. Director Smith, back to you.
I will give it a first try, but I'll definitely defer to our city attorney. But any property-related fees as defined in Prop 218, so your East Bay Mud water would be another example of a property-related fee that would be subject to a similar process. Here for the city, it's my understanding is this is, our sewers are only property-related fee that we conduct such public hearings.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to weigh on that? City attorney, city clerk?
The flood and stormwater?
The stormwater was an adopted, we don't do the mailings every year. We just do a public hearing for city council to approve us to assess that on the county tax roll.
So no other mechanisms for protest votes?
And Madam Mayor, I think
City attorney, please.
the only other thing that comes to mind for me would be the business improvement district fees that the city clerk
I was
does.
thinking of that. Yeah.
Does also similar tabulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other clarifying questions, comments? Councilmember Daysog, is that you?
Yes, just a clarifying question. So there were 19,243 notices sent out. So is the voting based upon one vote per notice, or is it weighted by the value of the property?
It's one vote per property.
So in order
One
to-
protest, excuse me, per property.
So in order to get a majority, it has to have been roughly 9,623, but instead 7 had come in.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Are we ready for a motion to approve?
All right. So moved?
Actually, I should say it's to introduce an ordinance revising the city sewer charges. And who moved approval? Vice Mayor, was that you?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pryor moves approval. Do we have a second?
I will second it with a quick comment.
Of course.
And my quick comment is thank you very much to the Public Works Director and the consultant for preparing the report and the analysis and the recommendations at 3%. That seems to be a reasonable percent increase. So, given the, the inflation effects that people are feeling, I think that seems quite reasonable.
Thank you, Councilmember Daysog, and I agree with you, especially just looking at the chart. Alameda is definitely on the low end of the scale. So that's a good place to be at this particular point with the economy doing whatever it's doing. Okay, we've had a motion by Vice Mayor Pryor, seconded by Councilmember Daysog. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmembers Bowler?
Aye.
Daysog?
Aye.
Jensen? Pryor?
Aye.
Mayor Ezzy Ashcraft?
Aye.
That carries by 5 ayes.
Thank you.
Nice. All right, we move on to 7B. Thank you, Director Smith. And Madam Clerk, would you please introduce item 7B?
Public hearing to consider introduction of ordinance amending the Alameda Municipal Code by amending Article 3018, Universal Residential Design of Chapter 30 Development Regulations to adjust universal design requirements for townhouse developments. The proposed the proposal is categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to Section 10561B3, the common sense exception.
All right, and presenting, we have, hello, do you want to introduce yourself, Mr. Tai?
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council. Alan Tai, Planning, Building, Transportation Director. Joining me tonight is Staff Planner Tristan Swear, who led the staff work on the update to our Universal Design Ordinance. And tonight we are asking the council to introduce this ordinance, which will amend our Universal Design Ordinance. And this would also complete one of our strategic plan project items, HH8C, which is to address some issues with the how this ordinance intersects with townhouse developments. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Tristan to tell you about the details. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, esteemed council members. Appreciate you taking the time this evening to discuss this item. As noted by Director Tai, the item before you is a zoning ordinance text amendment regarding the Universal Design Ordinance that the city currently has in its municipal code. I'm going to present a little bit of background on the ordinance just to give you some context, some reasons why we had considered the update to the ordinance, some brief sort of examples of the changes, and then just some background on how we got here tonight as far as the prior review from other bodies. So if we could just jump right in here. The Universal Design Ordinance was adopted originally in 2017. It's not required that a city adopt a Universal Design Ordinance. This is a demonstration of the city's commitment to housing accessibility, and it was modeled after HCD's model ordinance, as it is required to be. At that time in 2017, quite a bit of work went on, both at the Commission on Persons with Disabilities, as well as our planning board in this body, to ensure that this was a successfully implemented ordinance. And since then, we've had several projects that were that resulted in additional accessibly designed, universally designed units as a result of it. So we consider this a really successful ordinance. However, there is the sort of ongoing dilemma of townhouse-style development, which is needing to frequently, if not always, propose waivers to the Universal Design Ordinance because of practical difficulties. I'll get into a little bit more detail about that as we go on. But ultimately, the amendments are intended to both make the reasonable accommodations needed for townhouse development possible, and also just to create some updates to things like references to the community development department, things like that. So some typical kind of updates as an ordinance ages. So just for a little bit of background on what universal design is, what the ordinance actually requires. The breakdown of the requirements is primarily to create visitable and universally designed units, although there are other requirements in the ordinance. These are sort of the primary regulations. As the ordinance currently stands, and none of this is proposed to be changed in our amendments, for a new residential development, 100% of the units must be visitable. This means that they must have a certain number of rooms accessible from an exterior accessible entry to ensure that the space is usable by folks with different abilities. And that 30% of all units in residential developments of at least 5 units or more, that 30% of those units be universally designed. That's a slightly higher threshold, meaning a greater number of the rooms within that development must be designed to be accessible by folks with different disabilities. So that's just a little bit of background about what we mean when we say universally designed residential. And as I noted, as staff reviews development projects and ensures that they're complying with the Universal Design Ordinance, we noticed a pattern in which townhomes, by virtue of a couple of different reasons, but primarily because due to sea level rise adaptation, as you can see here at the Land Sea Townhomes project, they're required to be graded up, and therefore the steps required to do that create sort of a conflict with the requirement for an accessible exterior entryway, which is a sort of precursor to what we mean by visitability. But also because of the nature of townhomes being sort of shared wall, typically multi-story developments, creates a limitation to the number of rooms that can be made accessible. And so as a result, the townhomes projects in the cities had been consistently coming for waivers. And as a result, they're able to, because the waivers built into the ordinance are very broad, they're able to essentially waive the requirements for the Universal Design Ordinance pretty broadly. And so one of the things we wanted to do was to create a targeted exemption for these townhome-style developments such that they would not be able to take advantage of a very broad waiver, but would rather only be exempt from those aspects of universal design which are practically infeasible for these styles of buildings. In addition to that, we were able to revise one of the waiver findings that was already existent in the Universal Design Ordinance to have it align with the building code requirements and put the authority for that decision-making in the hands of the building official, as it is in line with the building code requirements. I think I mentioned some references to some cleanups of the language, things like the Community Development Department being updated to Planning, Building, and Transportation. And these are amendments identified both in the housing element and in our general plan. So these were, I mean, there's annual review of our Universal Design Ordinance, which often identifies sort of the projects that have gone through the process. But this is an opportunity for us to say, in addition to that annual review, we had some improvements that we wanted to bring before you, updates to ensure the continued success of the Universal Design Ordinance, because I can't reiterate this enough. We do consider it a successful ordinance as it currently stands. But the next slide is a little bit detail heavy, so I'm happy to answer questions on this if there are any, but I think the main takeaway from this is that the exemptions that we're proposing for these townhouse-style developments are intended to be very narrow. You'll notice that they still require many of the accessibility features that aren't precluded by the style of the building that we're proposing the exemptions would apply to. So things like, for example, the blocking within walls for a bathroom, still required because there's nothing about a townhome that would preclude them doing that. Likewise, you'll notice there's a slight difference between small and large projects. This is just to emphasize that for larger projects, there are sort of two different pathways for compliance. For a significantly large project, they'll be required to have inclusionary housing, which being affordable allows them to take advantage of a density bonus, which they could hypothetically apply to these standards. Additionally, many large projects have varied building types, and by virtue of having, for example, a low or mid-rise apartment building, it's much easier to achieve the 30% universal design threshold by virtue of the number of units in the entire project being part of that sort of building type that is more easily able to achieve universal design. So that's a little bit of information on the exemptions. I did want to kind of bring us to how we got here today. So the initial meeting, a study session before the planning board, took place in February of this year. We identified several areas that the planning board was concerned needed to be updated, things like definitions, just to make sure that they were consistent with best practices, and I think some reference call-outs, but essentially just making sure that it was all correct and referenced the correct sections of the building code, for example. And before we went back before the planning board, we actually had a meeting with the Commissions on Persons with Disabilities. We felt it was a very fruitful conversation. We got some good input from them about concerns they had around both the building official waiver, so we tightened up the language around that a little bit, as well as the language in the definitions that was suggested by the planning board. We then took those changes back to the planning board for a proper public hearing. During that public hearing, planning board recommended that the city council adopt the proposed amendments to the Universal Design Ordinance. And following that planning board meeting with the ordinance in its final form, we returned to the Commission on Persons with Disabilities at their request to review with them the changes that had been adopted since their last meeting and get their recommendation for the city council to adopt the amendments as well. That meeting took place on May 14th. In addition to that, we reached out to several developers throughout the project, namely KTGY, who was able to provide us with some context for, these are developers who primarily work with townhome style development, and to help us establish sort of realistic thresholds that wouldn't stymie development in the future, but would allow us to continue to ensure the greatest level of universal design. So in addition to that, I wanted to mention that I think I mentioned at the beginning that our Universal Design Ordinance is not mandatory. Rather, it's not mandated by the state. The city opted to do this as part of its commitment to accessibility, and that commitment has been attracted the attention of MTCHCD, who's asked us recently to participate in an accessibility panel that will be taking place in San Francisco later this month. during which we will be discussing the amendments proposed here, as well as sort of future best practices for implementation of universal design in residential development. So we're very pleased that we got that recognition, and we are looking forward to coordinating with MTC and HCD on that panel, which I encourage you all to attend. It will be free and available to the public. Excuse me.
And do you pronounce your last name Swearing?
Swear.
Swear. Mr. Swear, you're out of time, but I can, with a vote of 4 affirmative votes from the council, we can extend more time. How much more time do you think you'd need to complete your presentation?
30 seconds, Madam Mayor.
How about we give him 3 minutes? Do I have a motion to give our speaker, our staff speaker, 3 more minutes?
Move approval.
Is that Councilmember Jensen?
Yes.
Motion by Councilmember Jensen, seconded quickly by
Me, Vice Mayor Michelle Pryor.
Vice Mayor Pryor. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmembers Bowler. Daysog. Jensen.
Aye.
Pryor.
Aye.
Mayor Ezzy Ashcraft.
Aye.
That carries by 5 ayes.
Please proceed, and maybe you'll give us a little more information about this June 16th event. Is it in person, virtual, et cetera, et cetera?
Yes, and thank you, council members, for your patience. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about the topic, so I could talk all night about this. The panel, which will be hosted by MTC, and we will be participating on the panel with a member of HCD, will take place both on June 16th and 17th at the MTC building there on Beale Street. I want to say it's 625 Beale. It is open both in person and virtually for free attendance by members of the public. The meeting, as I understand it, will take place more or less all day, and the panel that we will be participating in will be on the 16th between roughly 3 and 4:30 p.m., and will focus on accessibility and residential design.
That would be 375 Beale Street.
Excuse
I hang
me.
out there a lot. All right.
And just to conclude my presentation, as mentioned, both the Planning Board and the Commission on Persons with Disabilities has recommended to the City Council to introduce and give first reading, adopting the proposed amendments of the Universal Design Ordinance. And that'll conclude my presentation, unless there are any questions.
Thank you very much. Well, that's my next order of business. Council, do we have any clarifying questions before I call for public comment? There you are. Any clarifying questions? I don't think I'm seeing hands, am I, Madam Clerk?
You're not.
All right, and do we have public comment on this item?
Let me just verify. No, we do not.
No public comment. All right, we will close public comment, and then we will go straight to council discussion and motion. And I want to thank our speaker, our staff presenter for the presentation. Very important and well done. So thank you for that. Council, questions, comments, motion. Vice Mayor Pryor.
I just wanted to comment that was going to be one of my questions, was if there were disability. No, I don't have questions because you had answered it. Sorry. I was going to ask if there were any disability groups, but you specifically mentioned the commissions for persons with disabilities. So I really appreciate that. And I am actually really looking forward to going to watch this presentation. Universal design is something that is very important to me, so I appreciate your work. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Other comments? Motion? Okay, who wants to make a motion to approve adoption of this resolution?
This is Councilmember Bowler. I'll make that motion.
All right, thank you very much. So we have a motion by Councilmember Bowler. This is introduction of this ordinance amending our universal residential design part of the municipal code, seconded by,
Second.
was that you, Councilmember Jensen?
Yes.
Okay, seconded by Councilmember Jensen. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmembers Bowler.
Aye.
Daysog.
Aye.
Jensen.
Aye.
Fryer.
Aye.
Mayor Ezzy Ashcraft.
Aye.
That carries by 5 ayes.
Great, thank you so much. All right, we will then move on to our next item, which is 7C. Madam Clerk, would you please introduce that item?
Public hearing to consider adoption of resolution amending master fee resolution number 12191 to add certain fees and revise the fee schedules for the Police Department, Library, Public Works Department, Fire Department, Planning, Building, Transport Department, and the REN program. And our Finance Director is up at the podium to start.
All right, welcome Director McCarthy. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. My name is Ross McCarthy, Finance Director. I am solely here to introduce you to Carlos Figueroa, our Revenue Manager in the Department of Finance. He's got a short presentation on the master fee schedule.
Wonderful. Welcome, Speaker Figueroa.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Carlos Figueroa. I'm the Senior Financial Analyst in the Finance Department. I'll be providing a high-level overview of the key fee changes proposed in the fiscal year 25-26 master fee schedule. These updates reflect Alameda's goals of fiscal sustainability, legal compliance, and equitable public service delivery. It's this one?
Yes, kind of worn out one.
Sorry.
The one that's pressed a lot. There you
Okay,
go.
there we go.
We have budget restraints, I'm sorry.
Sorry, first timer here. Just a little background information. In 1992, City Council passed a resolution allowing annual increases in city fee services based on inflation. They capped this at no more than 5% per year. Each fiscal year, eligible fees rise by the Consumer Price Index or Construction Cost Index, and other fees may be added or changed. Each fiscal year, we recommend adopting the proposed master fee schedule to keep up with rising costs and maintenance of essential services. Next, we'll be viewing an overview of the fees and the various different departments. The library updated its fee structure by eliminating lost card charges and processing fees for lost or damaged items to ease financial burdens. They also introduced replacement fees for new equipment such as lost laptops and laptop accessories. Last year, Alameda Police Department began handling carry concealed weapons permits, or CCW permits, for Alameda residents after the county delegated this responsibility. This year, a court ruling expanded eligibility to out-of-state applicants, leading to more applications and longer processing times. Alameda Police Department's new fees reflect the time and resources needed for thorough applicant background checks and ensure fees are comparable to those of other city and county law enforcement agencies. They also suggest changing the production report and microfilm fees to a flat rate instead of a per page charge. This is for improved transparency. The city hired NBS for a fee study to make the planning and building fees fairer, more accurate, and better aligned with the actual work required. Key changes include planning fees are going up slightly to reduce billing gaps. New fees were added to comply with state housing law requirements. The technology fee is increasing from 5% to 6%. And overall fees remain average compared to nearby cities per the Exhibit 2 fee study. Building permit fees and home improvement fees are being reduced slightly to promote upgrades and reflect project complexities. New inspection fees for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing work are being added. In code enforcement, the city removed its 4 times multiplier penalty fee for unpermitted work in favor of a new fee model based on staff time. For issues like noise or property upkeep, the general fund will cover 35% of these enforcement costs. Code enforcement is also recommending adding 2 new fees of note. The first, vacant building monitoring fee. This annual fee of $2,906 applies to buildings or lots left vacant for over 90 days. This will help cover the city's monitoring costs. The second fee is the tobacco retailer license fee. It's a new $981 fee, and it's proposed for tobacco sellers to fund inspections and enforcement for these businesses. The fire department is trying to reach full cost recovery in a 7-year time frame. To do this, Alameda Fire Department proposes to raise non-emergency medical service fees by roughly 9% and increase business and residential inspection fees. Under the new Assembly Bill 716, the first responder fee will now be included in a bundled ambulance transport rate. Alameda Fire Department will continue to offer free emergency medical services for non-medical assists, patient refusals, DOAs, and law enforcement calls. These adjustments in fees will increase business and residential fees to 37% cost recovery and all other life safety inspection fees to 61% cost recovery. These changes help support the long-term financial sustainability of the general fund. Public Works proposes 3 new parking citation fees to improve safety and access. The first is a $75 for parking in bike lanes, $45 for unauthorized parking in electric vehicle spaces, and $40 for parking too close to crosswalks. This will help improve pedestrian visibility. These fees aim to encourage safer and more accessible streets. Additionally, the daily meter fee will be removed from the master fee schedule as meter rates are set and adjusted separately by the Public Works Director. And some others to note, special event permit fees increased by 2.7%, and rent program fees, sorry, that's a typo there, were increased by 1.3%. These changes ensure that fees are fair, transparent, and based on the true cost of service. Staff recommend adoption of the proposed master fee schedule for fiscal year 25-26. These fees are set to become effective in the early part of next fiscal year. With the time that's remaining, if it's okay by you, I'd like to invite Public Works Director Aaron Smith to discuss an update to the fee schedule.
Certainly. Thank you very much.
Good evening again.
Hello.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm the Public Works Director. We recently learned that we have an incorrect vehicle code reference for the parking in a bike lane. I'm actually going to go back to this slide here. The $75 for parking in bike lane, the referenced California Vehicle Code that we have here is actually a moving violation, so it's for driving in a bike lane, and that this should actually be 21211, which prohibits parking in bike lanes, but only Class 1 bike lanes, which is good, and we want to be able to cite for that, but it's not comprehensive in where we want to be citing, which are Class 1 bike lanes as well. So what I'm recommending we do, and what we have been citing prior to this, adding this new bike lane one, we have been using an Alameda Municipal Code reference 8-81A, which is for parking out of a marked space. We've been using that in the past, and that currently has a $51 fine in the master fee schedule. What I'd like to recommend is that we increase that fine amount to $75, and so that our parking enforcement officers can use that at that $75 amount for parking in Class 1 bike lanes, which would be like Park and Webster Street as an example, and that we keep the $75 for parking in the Class 1 bike lanes, which is more rare in occurrence, but good to have in our master fee schedule.
Director Smith, what did you say? So you're proposing that we continue to use the Alameda Municipal Code section for parking outside of a marked space with what fine amount?
$75.
Okay, and then also $75 for the parking in a class which?
Class 1, yeah. So it would be a $75 fine regardless of the type of class bike lane, and our parking enforcement officers would either use one reference, which is the California Vehicle Code, or the other. Yes.
But the fine is the same. Got it. Thank you for that.
Sure.
And I didn't mean to cut you off. You still have a minute. Did you have anything more?
That was all I had. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Mr. McCarthy, Mr. Figueroa? No. All right. Well, thank you for the presentation. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment on this item?
We do not.
Okay, we'll close public comment on item 7C, and we'll go straight to council questions, comments. Who would like to start? Vice Mayor Pryor.
Yeah, I have 3 questions. One was, this one's a clarifying question regarding code enforcement fees. It says the unpermitted work replaced the discontinued 4 times multiplier with the hourly cost-based fees. And I was just wondering what that hourly fee is. And I just didn't understand. I'm guessing if the project previously was 10,000, we had charged them 40,000, and now we're doing something different. And so I just was trying to figure what that is.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Alan Ty, Planning, Building, Transportation Director. So this was a change that was made a year ago in the fee schedule where that was correct. If you did work without a permit, where a permit was required, if your permit fee was $100, the city would end up charging you $500. But at the advice of the city attorney, we moved away from that system and went to an hourly-based fee. And so currently, the hourly fee for code enforcement, I believe, is $318. And so we have set up a fee structure based on process steps. So if the city received a complaint and we went out and invested the violation, confirmed that the complaint was valid, and we did an inspection, issued notice of violation, we would charge an amount equal to the amount of staff time spent up to that process.
Oh, got it. Okay, well, thank you. I have a question about the vacant property fee. Is this for vacant buildings that are commercially owned? Does this include personal property like a condo or a house, for example?
It applies to vacant buildings as well as lots. So an example could be there's a dilapidated former gas station down the street, so it would apply to those properties. Not necessarily somebody's house unless it's become deteriorated to the point where it presents a life safety issue.
Oh, okay, got it. And then my last question was about parking enforcement, I believe, where it says the fine is, $40 within 20 feet of a crosswalk. How are we notifying people? Is there going to be a sign, red paint, both, or? Oh.
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Mayor. You mind if I answer?
No, please do.
Great, thank you. So there's a new California Vehicle Code that does not require within 20 feet that the curb be marked in order for us to cite. Our emphasis will be on daylighting intersections, which does include marking with paint and then enforcing those, but this gives us the citation amount should we need to enforce in unmarked intersections to improve visibility.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right. Any other questions, comments, motion, council? Councilmember Jensen?
Thank you. To follow up on Vice Mayor Pryor's question regarding the vacant building fee, if I just like to get a little bit of context for the fee, is this how it would be applied, and what sorts of buildings, as you mentioned, it would be residential as well as commercial, but when does it get triggered? That would be helpful to know.
Yeah, so the city has a ordinance, a vacant building monitoring ordinance, that applies citywide to any vacant property. So the fact that a property is unoccupied, whether it is a building or just a piece of land, would be subject to the ordinance. So our department has been keeping track of a list of vacant properties in the city. They are primarily currently commercial properties. And we would be approaching those property owners, informing them about the ordinance that's been in place since 2018, and the council now adopting the fee. And the fee is based on the staff time to inspect each property once a month. And so the $2,900 is reflective of 12 inspections over the course of a year.
Well, thank you. And I'm very supportive of the fee. I wanted to, I understand, especially as these will be mostly commercial properties, there could be, the property owner could say that the market's bad or the economic environment doesn't allow me to use this property. And with regard to residential properties, this council has been very supportive and of ensuring that all available residential property is available for rent or lease. So if you could just comment on how that would be addressed, those types of concerns from property owners?
Yes. So the ordinance recognizes that properties could be changing hands in the process of being marketed. So owners may request a fee waiver if they are, one, actively rehabilitating the property. So that means they have valid permits to perform work. If the property is code compliant and is actively being marketed for rent or sale, they may even seek a waiver based on financial hardship, or if the vacancy can be proven to be temporary. Maybe it's owner occupied, but they're traveling to another place for parts of the year and they can demonstrate that. So those are reasons outlined in the municipal code for exemptions from the fee.
Thank you, Director Ty. And my next question is for Director Smith, actually.
Come on back, Director Smith.
My next two questions. My first question is regarding how did we determine the amount of the new public works parking violation fees? You got to this a little bit with the $75 fee.
Yeah, so we do a lot of interagency comparison of what other agencies are doing, as well as particularly for the $75, we looked at our other safety-related violations, like parking in a red curb or near a hydrant or in an intersection, and those all are around $75 to $77. And so given that parking in a bike lane, we thought also had safety considerations, we set that amount at that. And did you want me to just answer for the bike lane one or for the other?
It was just the bike lane that I was...
Yeah, it's mostly so that's consistent with our other safety violations.
And actually, the daylighting, those fees are probably relatively new for other cities as well. So how is that determined?
They are. We also looked at what our red curb violation was, and this is about half of that, since again, the area not being marked, and this is a new California vehicle code, and people are still sort of learning. We set that at about half the rate of the red curb.
And my final question is about the bike lane, the code that you mentioned earlier, the amendment. Is there no state vehicle code then for parking in violation other than Class 1 bike lanes?
Council member, from what we can determine, those
City
violations.
Attorney Shan, yeah.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Council member, for those, we were able to determine moving violations. We were not able to find corresponding non-moving violations, and that therefore we are recommending that you adopt the 75 for the municipal code violations so that we cover all bases.
Thank you, and I appreciate your attention to these, especially the bike lane parking. I think that's really took a lot of information there and distilled it into what we need here in Alameda, so thank you. Sure.
All right. Other council questions, comments, motion?
Yeah.
Councilmember Daysog.
Yeah, well, thank you. You know, perhaps Chief Luby can address this. The ambulance fee is coming in at $4,500, $4,530, and that's basically a 24% increase over the previous year, which was roughly $3,665. And it looks like we're now tying to, or we are, it's set by some county decision. So can you explain that? Is there any way for us to control it? It just, for those, you know, who have insurance to cover an emergency ride via an ambulance, that's great. But for those who don't, that's quite a bit of money, $4,500.
Nick Luby, Fire Chief.
Welcome, Chief Luby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Nick Luby, Fire Chief. Thank you for the question. Councilmember Daysog. So we are one of 4 agencies, fire departments in the county that do, or municipalities that do our own transport. Alameda, Piedmont, Albany, and the city of Berkeley. And not to get too deep, but we have grandfathered rights that allow us to continue to have that higher level or high level of customer service for our community. In order for us to do that, we do have to contract with the County Emergency Services Agency that has the overall authority and oversight for transport in this county. So everyone, other than those 4, they contract with a private provider, Falk Ambulance, to provide the services. As part of our contract with the county, they do a calculation for Falk Ambulance for their private provider. And I don't have the equation right in front of me, but there is an equation. It's tied to CPI and other factors. They do that cost analysis. They let their vendors, so they know this is your max amount that you can charge for services in this county. As part of our contract, that is passed along as an opportunity for our charging for our community so that we are matched all in alignment across the county with fees so that someone's not higher than others. To answer the question, we could charge less. I mean, there's nothing that says we have to charge that dollar amount, but that is among the agencies in the county that do, in municipalities, we all do adopt usually what the county has placed for the private providers, just to have comparable. So if Falk Ambulance, let's just also throw this out there. So if we are out of ambulances and we did charge less, Falk Ambulance came into the city as mutual aid, they would be charging the same rate, or Berkeley or somebody else. So everyone's charging equal across the county. Does that answer the question?
I see.
Mayor?
Yes, is that Assistant City Manager Woolridge?
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. I just wanted to add to an answer to your question that Fire Department does offer financial assistance for those who cannot afford it. And as well as, from what I recall, that's the large majority are under private insurance, to your question. Most of the fees paid are under insurance, correct?
Kind of.
Medicare
and Medi-Cal is capped. So we have private pay, we have insured, we have Medicare and Medi-Cal. Medicare and Medi-Cal is capped. We cannot exceed what they cap. Even if we have council's authorization for $4,500, we cannot recover $4,500 because they have caps there, and that's the amount we can do. For private, yes, insurance will cover most of this. For individuals that aren't insured, that don't fall under Medicare, Medi-Cal, as Assistant City Manager Woolridge said, We do have a comprehensive hardship policy that is open to anyone that is connected with federal poverty guidelines. And depending on where they fall in there, they could have zero cost associated with the ambulance transport. We also, as the city attorney, also in the fiscal department, we can't just adopt the fees. We also have to do an analysis every time they come out to make sure that we are not exceeding costs that are associated with the services by state legislation, state law, right? So we're not charging more by any means of what it's costing to provide the services.
I see. Okay. Thank you, Chief Luby. I raised this because I remember when I needed an ambulance service, something happened in a tennis tournament and just got really dehydrated and was taken by ambulance to Kaiser, and I looked at the price and it was $2,300 roughly. And when you're looking at our master fee schedule, every year from 2019 to 2020 until 2 years ago, it was roughly $2,300. It never changed. It was always $2,300. Then last year, it increased to $3,665, and this year, $4,530. It is a big number. So I just want to throw it out there about, in terms of a concern. I think that's all, as much as I can say that. But I appreciate, the background you provided.
Yeah, fortunately, the service continues to get more and more expensive with the costs associated with all the equipment and technology that comes along with it and the ambulances. So it's helping support the services that are provided this community, but as I said earlier, by no means it's not making it cost neutral to provide the high level of service.
Can I ask one more question, actually? Sure. Do you have the data, whether it's available or not, but do you have the data where in other cities, what's Oakland or Piedmont or Emeryville paying? Do you have that data? How much
paying
it
for
costs
services?
For ambulance service, yeah.
So Piedmont is they adopt the same fee that we do through the county because they provide their transport. In the city of Oakland, San Leandro, Livermore, Pleasanton, everyone that doesn't have their own ambulance service, Falk Ambulance has a comparable fee of the $4,500 because that is what the county tells the private provider they can charge. So if you go across the bridge, that's what you would be charged for an ambulance transport by the private provider.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Okay,
thank you, Chief.
Sure.
And as long as you're up there, Chief Luby, I'm going to just chime in and say, sometime, I think it was last year, the Alameda County Mayor's Conference had a very robust discussion about ambulance transport throughout the county. And I will say that the Falk ambulance transport was problematic for many of the cities that use them, especially out in the Tri-Valley. There were long wait times for ambulances, which can be, life-threatening at times. And so we, I think, are very fortunate that we have the system that we do. When you call an ambulance, it's usually for an urgent matter. And I am certainly satisfied that we've done the analysis. We know we're not charging more than the service cost to provide, and we're certainly probably leaving, we still have costs that need to be covered. But I think that it is a valuable service we provide to our residents, and also with the reassurance or the safety net that there is a procedure for people who have difficulty paying, who qualify under income guidelines. I think those are appropriate safety mechanisms in place, but I fully support this ask.
Madam Mayor?
Is that you, Councilmember Jensen?
Oh, sorry, I wanted to tack on to your comments and Councilmember Daysog's while the chief is here.
Tack away, go for it.
So would you say, you mentioned earlier that that Medi-Cal and Medicare cap the fees, and so those fees are paid through those programs, through Medi-Cal and Medicaid, Medi-Cal and Medicare?
Correct. They are reimbursed. We have a third-party billing company that works for our fee collection, and they are those fees are paid through them back to the city.
And Chief, just off the top, what would you say the proportion of transports or ambulance pickups that would be covered by those two programs? Would it be more than 50% maybe? That would be Medicare, Medicaid, Medi-Cal, and Medicare
I would,
transports? Or-
yes, it's more than 50%. And I
Thank
can
you.
get you the numbers after this meeting.
I
But
would suggest, yeah, and
It's
as
in
you
our
know-
billing report we get. It's broken down. We get a quarterly billing report from Whitman Enterprises that does our billing. So it's all broken down in there of the what cost recovery and where the payments are coming from. So I'm happy to provide that to you.
I would appreciate that, but I would venture to say that, and as you know, I was on the Alameda Health System Board for a number of years and the Alameda Healthcare District Board, and I worked with EMS and Alameda's EMS and transport leaders, and I would suggest that it's probably closer to about 70% and so those would be, the other 30%, 30, maybe 35% would be those who are going to either face this fee with or without private insurance, and those who have commercial insurance who aren't covered by Medicare or Medi-Cal, their insurance would be likely to cover it if their employer insurance.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Jensen. Any other questions, comments for any of the presenters? I don't think I'm seeing hands. Am I, Madam Clerk?
No, there are no more hands.
All right. In that case, could we entertain a motion to move approval of the resolution amending the master fee resolution?
I'll move approval.
All right.
With the amendment?
Pardon me?
The amendment.
Yeah. And over on the Bowler Daysog side of the dais, you're always welcome to chime in and second or move. Any second?
No, I just have a comment.
A comment, Councilman Daysog.
Okay, thank you. I think my comment is, I honestly, I wish I would have caught this last year when we were doing the master fee schedule, because I am quite sensitive to the number of 2,300, and last year's bump up from 2,300 to 3,665 was a big bump up, and then there's another big bump up from 3,665 to 4,530 this year. It is a substantial amount, especially for those who have to pay for it out of pocket. And I'm glad to hear that we've got some kind of program in place for those who've faced challenges. I'm going to support this, but given that the master fee schedule will be coming back next year, I suspect I would hope not to see an increase in this amount, because it is a huge amount. I know, all our department heads, including our fire chief, have to make decisions based upon facts that are in front of them at the time. I get it. But there is a substantial pinch for those who, in an emergency purpose, have to ride an ambulance. Okay.
Thank you for that. So did we have a motion?
Yes.
By Councilmember
Jensen,
seconded by?
nobody yet.
Seconded.
Was that you, Councilmember Bowler?
Yes.
Thank you for that. All right, maybe we have a roll call vote, please. Madam Clerk.
Councilmembers Bowler?
Aye.
Daysog?
Aye.
Jensen? Pryor?
Aye.
Mayor Ezzy Ashcraft?
Aye.
5. That carries by 5 ayes.
All right, thank you for that, and thank you to all of our staff presenters on that. We come to the end of the regular agenda. We really moved along. I give a break after we've met for 2 hours, but it hasn't been 2 hours, so we're going to keep going on to item 8, which is City Manager Communications. City Manager General.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. I've got a number of items. One is kind of a housekeeping item, but we do have announcement of negotiations. So as required by the city's Sunshine Ordinance, I'm providing 30 days notice that the city will be initiating bargaining with 2 safety groups, including the International Association of Firefighters Local 689, IAFF, and Alameda Fire Chiefs Association, AFCA, on salaries, benefits, and terms of employment. Current memorandum of understandings expiring December 31st, 2025 between the city and each listed group can be found on the city's website and on the Human Resources webpage. Negotiations will begin in July 2005. On more kind of fun notes, but we have events coming up on June 21st. There are two exciting events taking place in Alameda. On the 21st, that morning, is the annual Sandcastle contest at Crown Beach. That afternoon is the second Rising Seas event taking place at the Harborview Park, which is located on Clement and on Stanford Street. This is part of a free outdoor series of events that connect culture and climate awareness in creative and engaging ways, transforming Alameda's waterfront parks with live music, dance, and theater. Now, related to some programs, serving on a city board or commission is a great opportunity to participate in local government. We currently have openings in both the Public Art Commission and the Social Service Human Relations Board. You can learn more and submit an application on the city's website. And we are also accepting applications until June 9th for the city's below market home ownership program. The lottery will take place on June 12th for 3 different income levels. Find more information and submit an application at risehousing.com/Alameda waitlist 2025. No spaces. And then local updates, Central Avenue construction is moving along with the current phase of work ending later this month. At that time, the detour will change to traffic traveling east between 5th and Pacific. So please use extra caution and always follow detour routes to ensure your safety and the safety of others. We expect the second phase and the roundabouts at 3rd and 4th to be complete by the end of the summer. So plan ahead for late night closures, 10 p.m. to 4:30 a.m. in the Webster Tube on June 10th and in the Posey Tube on June 11th for a scheduled fire drill. And happy Pride. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. And now we'll move on to item 9, which is oral communications, non-agenda items. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment under this item? Okay, and I know, so we'll close item 9, oral communications, non-agenda items. We have no council referrals this evening. And council communications, let's start with Councilmember Daysog. What have you got?
Well, like all of us, I attended the Memorial Day event at Harbor Bay. That was very nice, that event. And also attended along with all my colleagues, the event honoring or thanking our volunteers who are on our boards and commissions. So that was very fun. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Bowler.
Oh, thank you, Madam Mayor. I too was at, of course, Veterans Memorial Day, honoring our veterans, and on Wednesday, May 28th, was at the West Alameda Business Association mixer for an exciting new business, the Replenish, Replenish Marketplace on Webster Street. And then after that to the Sister City Association meeting that was conducted that day. Also pleased to report that I was also at the Board and Commission's appreciation reception for our volunteers in the city, and very much appreciate all their hard work on behalf of the city. And on Saturday, May 31st, I was at the ribbon cutting for the Diggity Dog. We heard about that earlier tonight. And I was also at the Family Fusion Day for Pacific Fusion. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you, Vice Mayor Pryor.
Yeah, I was at the Memorial Day event also. That was lovely. And to honor the volunteers for the commission and the board, or people serving commissions and boards. And then I was also at the AC Transit event.
Yes.
And that is it, I believe.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Jensen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share the resolution for John Lip Day today. I also took the opportunity at your direction, Mayor Ezzy Ashcroft, to cut the ribbon for the Diggity Dog last weekend, and it was a great event. There were many, many people there, very excited to support FOZ and to support our newest gently used thrift store in Alameda in the West End, right on Pacific Avenue off of Webster Street.
Thank you. And I will say, echoing what everyone else said, the entire city council was at the Memorial Day ceremony organized by a Vietnam veteran, Joe Laparo, at the Veterans Memorial Park there at the foot of the Bayfront Island Bridge. And it is really showing such respect to our veterans, their families, and the community for the whole council to come out. And so I want to thank you all for doing that. It was a very well attended event, which made me really proud. On May 29, some of us, Councilmember Daysog, I think you were there too, and Vice Mayor Pryor and I attended the State of AC Transit. Weren't you there, Councilmember Daysog?
No, I was not.
Oh, you weren't? Okay.
In
Never
spirit.
mind. I imagined you. All right. Well, Vice Mayor Pryor and I were there, and we had an update from AC Transit on the state of their system and the things they're doing, which are great, but we just need to keep them off that fiscal cliff. Later that day, I attended a book signing at Books Inc., and it wasn't just any book signing. It was a fourth grade class in Alameda at Love Elementary School. Their teacher is Ryan Brazil, I want to say. She's amazing. A year ago, her fourth grade students interviewed me for their podcast, their student podcast, wearing their headphones, with their microphones, and so mature and great questions they asked. And then I asked them, well, what topic are you covering in your next podcast? And they said neurodivergence. And these were fourth graders, and but now they have written and published a book that they did a book reading, and then they did a book signing, and it was so much fun. And our City of Alameda APD's own Michaela Parker's son is in that fourth grade class and was one of the young authors. And then that evening, yes, I joined everyone at the Board and Commission Appreciation event, and it was very well attended and just so much fun to see the commissioners there and interacting with staff and with council and each other. And it's a great opportunity. And thank you, City Manager Jen Ott, for highlighting that we have 2 openings. In fact, I wrote about it in my newspaper article that will come out at the end of this week, which I submitted last night from Washington, D.C. I'm kind of on Pacific and East Coast time while I'm here. But yes, Commission on Persons with, Social Service Human Relations Board and Public Art Commission are the 2 that we have openings on currently. And so, as I said, go to the website, read about our different boards and commissions, watch or attend in person a meeting, read the minutes, see if it sounds like something that interests you. We would love to have you apply. And I will just report that while I've been in Washington, D.C., just today, I was at 4 different meetings at various Senate and House committee, meeting with staff on various transportation and infrastructure committees, highway and transit subcommittees, environment and public works. And our last meeting was with Senator Adam Schiff, one of our 2 California senators. And just as we were walking through the office building, actually on the way to Senator Schiff's office, I looked over and there was this tall fellow who was actually tossing individual bags of chips over the plexiglass dividers that surround where the police, the security that check you in, stand. And I kind of looked over to see who was doing that. It was Senator Cory Booker, who's got those long arms to do it, but he's clearly a fan favorite of the Capitol Police. And so we went over to say hello, and he, because he's got the longest arms in the group, took a selfie of us. So it was kind of nice to chat with him. Tomorrow we're meeting at the Department of Transportation first thing in the morning, and then followed by meetings with our Congresswoman Latifah Simon, Congressman Eric Swalwell, and then Congressman Mark Desagne. So, and then there's more lobbying on Thursday, including a meeting with the White House Office of Intergovernmental Affairs on transportation issues. So we hope to come back with bags of money. No, we're just trying to preserve funding and generate more. So hopefully it's a productive trip. But I want to thank everyone for their time. I especially want to thank Demetrius Kagampan and the IT department for doing several trial runs with me to make sure that everything went seamlessly. I know they're watching to make sure I didn't blow it, but I didn't because they gave me such great instructions. So thank you to all of you, to staff, to the council. I think we accomplished a lot this evening, and we're getting us out of here at a reasonable hour, if not in Washington, D.C. Anyway, thank you all for your time and your good work. Have a great rest of your evening, and see you back in town next week. All right. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.